All right, so here we're supposed to use the formula d equals 1.22 square root of x, where x is the elevation in feet of a person, to estimate how many miles a person can see from an airliner at 10,000 feet. So we're supposed to estimate that. So if we plug in that, that's going to be d equals 1.22 times the square root of 10,000. Well, the square root of 10,000 is going to be 100. So 100 times 1.22 is going to be 122 miles that they can see when they're at 10,000 feet. Okay, so that's what we are looking at there. So not too hard, just plugging in values and then taking your square root. What about this one though? There is a leveling off of a worker's productivity as more is spent on equipment. So the function P of x equals 100 square root of x plus 6,000 approximates the worth of goods produced by a typical worker in dollars when x dollars are spent on equipment per worker. Evaluate P of 20,000 and interpret the results, and then sketch a graph and then do all the formulas. All right, so first off, let's do A. So A says we're going to find P of 20,000. Okay. And so we're going to plug that in. And so that's going to be 100 square root of 20,000 plus 6,000. And if we plug that in, we're going to get, let's see here, find a calculator, clear that. So we're going to have 100 times the square root of 20, 1, 2, 3, and then we have to get out of the square root, and then we have plus 6,000. So 20,142 and 14 cents. It doesn't say what to round it to, so we'll go to the penny just because it's dollars. We could probably round to the whole dollars because I'm thinking that a lot of this, like the 6,000, is going to be dollars. These are parts of dollars, so really it could do 2142.14 or approximately 2142. That's probably more in line what they're going to look for there. What is it? So, when basically the what they're asking for here is when $20,000 is spent on equipment per worker, then the P is going to be the worth of goods produced is $20,142. Okay. Now, it says we're supposed to sketch the graph of P of X. So a couple things we could do. We could, plug all this in. Now the key thing is these are going to be in thousands of dollars. So this would be 2,000, 4,000, 6,000, and stuff like that. And kind of, the same thing going up and down. We're going to have to work on it that way, I think. In fact, we're probably going to go off charts here, I would say, with this one because it's going to be over 20,000. But maybe we have to do these. Maybe I shouldn't have used this as the graph, but we'll figure it out when we start graphing anyway. So B, sketch the graph. So we know the square root of x, it's going to do, something like that. And then if we add 6,000, we're going to move it up. And if we multiply by 100, we're going to get something else. So let's cheat a little bit. Let's use our calculator. So we're taking 100 times the square root of x, and then we're adding 6,000. Okay, now let's set our window. We really don't have to go below zero. X max, well, they were going up to on one of those 60,000, so maybe let's do 65,000. Let's go by, I don't know, 10,000. We'll go to zero because it's always going to be positive. And I don't know, let's go up to 40,000. I don't know how high we need to go, but we'll put it that and let's go by 10,000 again. All right. Now let's see if we got a good window. Yeah, that's a pretty good window. All right, so this is kind of what it's going to look like. So it's going to go up. We've got this typical square root function, so that's good. And so, these again are by 10,000. That's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, a little bit over. And that's 10, 20, 30. So, uh, going back to our thing, if we forgo what these say, because they're not going to work for what we need to do. And we're only going to do the right top quadrant. So that's going to be, if this is 20,000, if we plug in 20,000, we know it's going to be a little over 20,000. So let's call, yeah, we could say each one of these is I guess we could do 2,000 for each of those. We can say that. That's fine. That'll work, I think. So each one of those is 1,000 also. So if we have 20,000 here, we get a little over 20,000 here. If we plug in zero, it's going to be 6,000. So it's going to be, here's 10. So it's going to be somewhere about here. It's going to be pretty low. Well, give it to me. So then if we plug in, 4,000 or 40,000, it's going to go, but basically, we're going to go up and we're not going to do an exact. We're just going to kind of do something like that. Okay. So that's kind of our graph. Again, we're basically we've forgone all the actual units there because it's not so good, but that's okay. Um, now, now we're supposed to use a graph and the formula to evaluate. So now we want P of 40,000 minus P of 20,000. And we also want P of 60,000 minus P of 40,000. Okay. Now, here they say use the graph and the formula to evaluate that. Well, if they say use the graph, that means we're going to have to go back to our calculator because we're not going to be able to do it there. So now what we can do is we can say second calc and we can do a value and we can look at all the different pieces that are there. So we needed 60, 40, and 20. So we'll put in 60,000 first. And so that's going to be 30,495. So let's write that down on a piece of paper so that we can transfer it back when we get done. So it's 3495. We're going to just do it simple. And then if we do 40,000, that gives us 26,000. So that's pretty easy of a number. And then we'll do 20,000. Okay. So that's 2142. Well, I guess we already knew that one, but that's okay. All right. So now what we need to do is we need to go back out of here and we need to take and subtract all those. So 60 was 30495 minus, and our other one was 26,000. So that gives us 4495 for the difference there. And then the other one was going to be 26,000 minus the 2142, if I remember right. That's 5858. Okay. All right. So now let's go back and write all that down over here. So we have this one was 60,000 was 30495 minus, this was 26,000, and that gave us 4495. Here, oops, that was for the wrong, this was for down here. So we'll call this one 60 and 40, and this is 40 and 20 because I wrote it backwards. All right, and so this one was 40,000, so that was 26,000, and this is 20,142. So when we subtract those, we said it was 5858. Okay, so these are how much we're increasing by. This is how much we're increasing by. So what does that mean? Interpret. Well, we added 20,000 here and the difference it was 5858. We added another 20,000 and it was only 4495. So it seems like every time we add, we're not going up by a lot. So we could say maybe as far as that goes, increasing by additional 20,000 does not increase the worth of the goods probably enough to worry about. So enough to matter because it keeps going down as we do it now. I would assume that we add up higher here and here, it's going to be even a smaller number for the next one. So it's going to be probably 3,000 or something like that. So it's kind of a diminishing return as far as what happens as we add 20,000 each time. All right. So let's stop there and we'll come back for some more.